Welcome back, everybody. It's Financial Literacy Month, and today we are talking about retirement. We have financial expert Frank Lee joining us this morning. Good morning. Thanks for joining us.
Good morning. Thank you for having me.
So he's an advisor with Moneywise Wealth Management. Frank, every situation is unique, but how should people calculate how much they will ultimately need for retirement?
Well, that's the million-dollar question, right? Yeah. So it really does depend, and I know it kind of sounds cliche to say that, but it really does. But a good general rule is, let's say if you're nearing retirement, it's the last few years of salary that you need to save up for, and that numbers tend to be 8 to 10 times that. So if it's 100,000, then it could be $1 million.
And how can you make sure you aren't spending too much after you retire? You got a lot of time on your hands. How can you budget for that?
Yes. Well, in general, the 4% drawdown rule is typically what we say. So if you're saving for $1 million, then that's $40,000 per year. It's typically a safe rule. That should last you about another 20 to 30 years, but investments are also a good portion of that.
Well, let's dive more into that 4% rule. What does that mean? Why is that number so perfect for retirement and kind of budgeting for that?
Again, it's just a safe drawdown number. That number can vary depending on certain needs, lifestyle expenses and everything. And it usually also coincides with any fixed income that you have, like Social Security or pension.
And how can future retirees plan for some of that lavish spending a little bit more? The special considerations, travel, there's healthcare, there's moving. Are you going to move to a condo? Are you going to move out, move to a different house? How can people kind of budget for that, those special considerations?
Yeah, I would say for those considerations and those factors, definitely talking with an advisor helps, because you want an in-depth analysis of what that budget looks like, right?
Frank Lee with Moneywise Wealth Management talking about retirement. What should people do about the rising costs that are going on right now? A lot of inflation. How should people kind of plan for that?
Yeah, that's definitely the hot topic. And again, knowing exactly how you're saving, what you're invested in will definitely help. And again, going back to talking with an advisor, see what that looks like, because some people might not be invested appropriately for that.
Frank, let's talk a little bit more about 401k. I personally know someone who got a little bit of a late start to contributing to that 401k. What do you have to say to viewers right now who maybe are off to that slow start as well? Is it too late for them?
I wouldn't say it's always too late, but understanding your income needs and what they look like, your sources, income sources, that's always one place to start. But always utilizing the 401k is going to be to your best advantage. There's a lot of benefits towards it, especially with the employer match and the contribution limits. So definitely utilizing it at any age is beneficial.
So we talked a little bit about 401k, but can you explain the differences between a traditional IRA, a Roth IRA, and a 401k? Those are terms I heard my parents talking about, but I don't really know too much about them.
Yes. Well, in order to separate that, I think the 401k itself is a separate beast in it. The traditional IRA and the Roth IRA is there if, for example, let's say your employer doesn't offer a 401k. I don't know why they don't, but if they didn't, the traditional IRA and a Roth IRA works similarly, but a little less in the sense of like contributions. But they are there. Traditional IRA will be the pre-tax advantage, where you can put in, reduce some of the taxable income. The Roth IRA, though, is going to be some post-tax contributions, where the main benefit is going to be that tax-free growth and tax-free withdrawal.
All right, Frank Lee joining us with Moneywise Wealth Management, talking about retirement. I'm sure maybe a lot of you at home are really looking forward to retirement. Thanks for joining us this morning, Frank.
Thank you.